This is Lewis Arthur, Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. I'm delighted today to be joined with Aloys Jr. We're here at York Hall. How are we feeling, mate? You know, one thing I always say about your gym, whenever one of them fights, all you lot come out, and that's a good thing to see.
Yeah, our place is a family home, you know. We're not just fighters, we're brothers, you know, brothers in arms, and we love and appreciate each other, you know. We want to see the best out of each other. If I'm doing something wrong, Lee Wood will say something. If I'm doing something wrong, Shabazz will say something, Ben will say something, Barry, so on. You know, it's a family, and I love it. I will never leave.
Definitely, you know, obviously, tonight you got Ben Smith with his first big fight, first 10-rounder fight from the southern area. When you've seen him in camp and, you know, you talk about that family, they tell you they're doing something wrong. A guy who's got their first big fight, and even a guy like you who's an early pro, how beneficial is it that you've got the guys like Lee Wood who are the world champions, Lee McGregor, all them guys that are like, listen, do this, do that.
It's amazing because, you know, when something is in front of you and you can see it even becomes more realistic. You know, it even becomes more real. You know, I can see it, I can feel it, I can speak to the individual, I can understand them a lot more. I can understand how they think and how did they make it to get there. So it's an amazing experience.
Do you know, when you see guys like Lee Wood and you see what they have to go through in the gym, they see their training camps, does it paint a picture in your head, you know, like, if I want to be a world champion, I want to be right at the top, this is what I've got to do?
Absolutely. You know, I see what grafting does for an individual. I see how far they go. You know, Lee Wood wasn't, 5 years ago, he wasn't really nowhere, you know, and where he is today, it's a story in a book, you know, a movie.
We'll touch on Lee Wood a bit, you know, because he's obviously got a massive fight at the end of May in about a month's time. But guys like him, you know, you can take a lot, you know, you can take a lot of inspiration from him because he's someone who took early losses and who took tough fights, but still came back. And you look at it, not in a disrespectful way, but the summer he's having now, the crop that he's in now. I know he's, you know, coming off a loss to Lara, but you know, he's boxing unbelievable in that fight. And guys like that who they take losses, they can still be in big fights. It shows for, you know, early pros like you, like, you know, this is the game. You can swim and still get wet, and you can still be in big fights.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's to be the greatest. You know, me personally, I need to be the greatest. I must be the greatest. I inspire to be the greatest. And how can I answer this? I even lost myself. I was flowing. What was the question again, my bro?
So I was saying, like, man, I've even forgot the question myself. I was saying like someone like Lee Wood, where, you know, they've taken losses and they proved that, you know, you can swim and you can't swim and not get wet. And to prove that for an early pro like yourself and look up to him in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, even myself, I lost my debut, and you know, and since then my career's been going up, you know. So I can take a lot from that. Look, Johnny Nelson, he lost majority of his fights and he became a world champion. You know, Lomachenko lost fights, became a world champion. We lost a fight. So I can understand where they're coming from.
I know you don't want to touch on sort of your debut too much, but yeah, was it a hard thing to deal with for you? Like, you know, how hard was that to sort of deal with that sort of pro debut for you?
At first, ego crusher. It crushes your ego like to a ball, because obviously before, I don't know if you saw my first interview, I was saying I was the best, you know, and deep in my heart I believe I'm the best, but I didn't show it, you know, and that will destroy your ego, and I've grown significantly from it. You know, I've grown significantly from that experience, and I'm a lot more aware of myself today. I will never rush anything.
When you think about, you know, egos in boxing, it's like the downfall of every person. Do you feel like, you know, now since, like, you know, when you look at that loss, you know, at the time you sort of crushed your ego, but then you look at it in the future, this just benefited me even more, would you say?
Absolutely. You know, once the ego's crushed, then the real individual is revealed. You know, then you understand your deeper self, and your deeper self comes out.
You know, talking about egos, someone, you know, there's always rivals going on, and, you know, when there's rivals, there's always egos. We've got to talk about one man, is Tommy Fletcher. He said, you know, all these cruiserweights, you know, I'd smash them all, this and that. This, you know, provoked a response for you. When you saw that video, what sort of provoked that response for you when you saw that video?
You know, when I saw it, and I was like, look, man, I can't have this. You know, he's calling all of the individuals in Queensbury clowns, and I fall under them. I can't have this. You know, I'm a individual of integrity, honor, and if someone puts dirt on my name, I can't bite back. You know, I got to throw back sometimes.
Do you know when he said those comments, do you think he was indirectly talking to you?
Absolutely, but he doesn't have the balls to call my name. He doesn't have the honor to call my name. Trust me, he's not that guy.
You know, is all this stuff good for you? You know, for an early pro like you, I always said, you know, every big star, they all need a dancing partner, and it seems like you found your one.
Yeah, man, it'll be a great dance, man. Hopefully for the British, I really want it for the British. I'll say a year or two, you know, hopefully a year. But I'm working immensely with Ben Davison every day, critiquing me, trying to get the best out of me, and he will. You know, I'll be a great student.
Do you feel like this fight, you know, does it really need to be made now, though? Because you're still at sort of a similar trajectory, you know. You could sort of build this up, do you know what I mean? Like, you could build this up, and that could be a big fight in the future, like you said, for a British title or for a title, when there's actually something on the line, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, on Twitter I posted, not now, we're still very young in our careers, later on, for a title, for a British. That makes more sense, you know, business-wise, career-wise, and financially-wise, if you want to say. Yeah, but that comes along as business as well. Later on, we'll meet each other.
You know, moving on, we'll talk about your last fight, or whatever lasted of it. You know, fights like that, I think I said to you in the post-fight interview, you know, you don't get paid for overtime, but is it sometimes nice to get rounds in, or do you know you want to be getting home early?
I need them rounds. I want them rounds because, look, you know, 38 seconds is nice and that, but someone needs to pay for these long runs, for these hard bag circuits. They need to pay for that, and my knuckles are itching for my next opponent. Hopefully it doesn't stop that early. I want to give him a nice beating, you know. So, yeah, I'll see him.
You know, how important now is 2023 being active? You're obviously your first fight in February, fighting very soon. Just getting them stoppages, you know. You know, like I said, you don't get paid for overtime, but you still want to get the rounds in.
Absolutely. It's important to be active, man, because I can show my true colours. I can show who I am. I can show people I am truly the animal. I can show people that that I am destined to be great.
Well, Aloys, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. It's been good to sort of catch up with you. I appreciate it, mate. Top man. Thank you, mate. Cheers.